This podcast is brought to you by the Podtower, hosted by the Watchtower database. Visit youtube.com/thepodtower for informative, hilarious DC animation-themed podcasts and live streams every week. And check out the Watchtower database for DCAU video essays, timelines, fan theories, and more. And please, enjoy the show.
This is what my keys sound like.
I don't have my keys.
That's because you don't have a big white hick truck like me.
I mean, true, but I do have keys.
No.
I promise.
Do yours go jingle jangle all
right.
sprightly like?
All the way. Jingle jangle all the way. When is Dylan doing jingle jangle all the way on movies to watch before you die?
I don't know, but we should ask him. Hey, Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
You know the question.
We should. Dylan's favorite part of the podcast is where I ask him, "When the hell are Brian and I coming on your podcast?"
I wonder what. Dylan always he always lets us know what your favorite part is. Yeah. But I wonder what his favorite part is. Is it when we talk about him randomly? You think?
I think whenever his name comes up and he gets a little shiver of a whoo, Dylan. Kunai. Go watch the Pokeball video that we've plugged like 4 different times throughout this.
Bye.
Oh, my window's open. Hang on.
No. Okay. Well, James put his headphones down, so this is my chance to take over the podcast. Hi, everybody. Maybe stop listening to the podcast. It's not going to be good. Don't bother. Don't make a TikTok about this,
All right.
Jamie.
Here I am back, and everything's fine, and Brian said all good things. Oh, you didn't get to the best. I'll pretend like I'm not listening. You can keep going. La, la, la.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to the pod. This is where I, James, show my friend Brian here,
and I'm Brian.
DCA animated you in the controversial, from start to finish, in the controversial air date order. I recommend
Are you am I led to believe you don't know what U stands for in DCAU?
DCAU, as in like
I'm
pointing at
me.
you.
Okay, cool.
DCAYOU.
The DC animated yellow orange universe.
We recommend that you watch today's episode, which is a compilation of video game clips on YouTube before listening to the podcast.
A very strange time for you to decide to take.
This is a weird first episode for you, listener. Yeah. And I can't make you do that, but I can make Brian do that.
You sure can. And I'm Brian.
If this is somebody's actual first episode, they're going to be like, oh, cool, Brian's the one that sounds like an idiot. Or wait, no.
You're right. You're right. No, you had it right the first time.
Anyway, did I miss anything?
I don't know. Far Gone Days of the 1900s is in there somewhere.
I didn't say
that. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I failed.
Yeah, today we're watching we're starting off season 4 of Jump on the Bat-Wagon. This is our 81st episode.
You know what? Wow.
And this is also the first episode, because we did Shadow of the Bat parts 1 through 2 as one episode. It got us back on track with the numbers after Mask of the Phantasm. But now we're going to throw ourselves off of the show episode numbers and the podcast episode numbers. From here on out will never be lined up correctly ever again.
Damn.
So yeah, this is The Adventures of Batman and Robin for Sega CD. The cutscenes, known to fans as the lost episode of Batman the Animated Series. This was produced. I've been listening back. I've been listening back, and I hear it every time now. This was produced.
That is amazing.
Yeah, you had to do something to me to make up for it.
Yes. I did.
This was produced number 86. Right after Batgirl Returns. This is technically the final produced episode, if you want to think of it that way. The production name of this episode was Mystery. Did I really? God damn it.
No, you didn't.
It was Mystery 86. So it doesn't have an actual episode name, but between Lost Episode and Mystery 86, call it whatever the hell you want. The game was released in July of 1995, but the episode premiered as a standalone event at New York's Toy Fair in February 1995, which I didn't know until I started writing out all the info for this thing. This is a kind of a different way of going about this episode. Like I had to dive into the actual game credits to find out who did things, because nobody's ever bothered to write down. I was thinking the whole time that I'm writing all this stuff down, I was like, so I've basically just written an outline for myself for a video eventually on this game, this weird cutscene episode thing, because none of this information was in the same place, and I don't think anyone has ever put it in the same place before.
So you are maybe literally the second or third person in history to compose this list.
Who's the first? The people that made it?
Yeah, the person who compiled the list for the person doing the credits.
Yeah, okay, quite possibly. So there were 4 different games under the Adventures of Batman and Robin title. Today, you would think if it was released, you'd be like, oh, of course. So there's the Switch version, the Xbox version, the PlayStation version, whatever. Yeah. It was 4 completely different games, all called The Adventures of Batman and Robin for different consoles. So the first was for the Super Nintendo in December 1994. It was a platformer / side scroller developed by Konami. So they did Metal
Konami
Gear.
Phoenix?
Sure. What is that?
Kuni Phoenix's name bastard.
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know game things, so I figured maybe you were doing a game thing. Because every time that I had to look up, it was like, oh, it's developed by this thing. I was like, oh, I have to not sound like an idiot on the podcast. I have to know what I'm talking about. Oh, what's Konami Phoenix? Please tell me. Obviously, that must be, I can't look like an idiot.
Well, you know what the Konami code is, right?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay,
that's
so then you have you have at least square one of game knowledge.
I've played GoldenEye and Halo. I know things. But they developed Metal Gear, Castlevania, Frogger, and Dance Dance Revolution, among others. Each level of this version of the Super Nintendo is loosely based on a BTAS episode. So there's been several times in the trivs where I've been like, oh, this episode was like what happens on the Joker level of the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, okay.
And the Penguin and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Okay. Then there was this one that we'll be watching, the Sega CD version, or outside the US, it was called the Mega CD. This was
Mega.
Mega instead of Sega. They had Monic the Hedgehog. But I don't know. I thought for forever until today compiling
wait. Can we just pause for a minute and try to picture what Monic looks like? Is he black and white?
His sidekick Buckles. It's just the Simpsons version of these bastardized, slightly wrong versions.
The frame rate's slightly lower. It's a monochromatic screen.
I was about to say. Then several years passed and we came out with new Monic the Hedgehog.
I would love to just kind of picture. Just imagining what that would actually look like. Some you know how early Simpsons just looks kind of wrong compared to later Simpsons.
It's rough and drippy and stuff.
Yeah, I'm picturing Sonic as that, and maybe that he doesn't have the blur
it's just
behind
the ugly.
him.
It's just the ugly Sonic from the first trailer for the movie.
Oh
no! With the human teeth and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to picture this anymore. Let's move on.
No, but yeah. So Sega CD. I thought this was just CD-ROM, computer game developed by Sega, but it was an actual console.
Yeah, it was you're too young to remember.
Yeah.
That
see, I didn't know this. Yeah, I was 4 years old. You were 20.
24. Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. So this the gameplay from this that we're gonna watch. We won't watch any of the actual gameplay, but it was just. We could watch that version if you want. It's about 3 times longer, but it was almost entirely, I think, third-person Batmobile or Batwing chases. So you're always there will be a chunk of a cartoon episode for the cutscene, and then you're in the Batmobile chasing whatever villain getting away from you, shooting them down. and then it back to another chunk of an episode and just repeat until it's over. I didn't realize that was all that you did in this game. It was like, oh, the coolest version of the game must be the one with like the cutscene episodes, but I think that's the lamest version of the game.
It sounds it. It sounds like that. And while it's a lot of fun, Nintendo 64 had the Pod Racer Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Which they just released, and I was reminded of it from because they like basically
the Xbox re-release thing.
They didn't reskin it. They they upscaled or upconverted the cutscenes.
Whatever you would call it, upscale version,
but the cutscenes, but not the game. So you look at the cutscenes and you're like, oh wow, that looks nice. You goes to the game and you're like, oh no.
Well, I've been playing the GoldenEye version or Xbox version, and it just is just as blocky and whatever. But like it's like the polygon whatever count is exactly the same, but it's still running on like an Xbox engine or something. So yeah. Anyway, the Sega CD version developed by Clockwork Turquoise, Clockwork Tortoise. That would explain it. I was Googling Clockwork Turquoise trying to find out what games they had done besides this and not finding anything, but that's because I was typing the wrong fucking phrase into Google. So I want to do this live now. What's Clockwork Tortoise? What have they done?
I like that you're like, what's the opposite of Clockwork Orange?
Well, that's what I think that's why I like
color grading.
I Freudian slipped there. Clockwork Tortoise. When I click Clockwork Turquoise, fucking hell, Clockwork Tortoise on Wikipedia, it just takes me directly to the Adventures of Batman and Robin video game on Wikipedia. There's no, so like that's the only thing there's.
I have. I don't know. This teeny tiny article needs some work. You can help us by expanding it. Clockwork Tortoise Incorporated was a short-lived American video game development studio founded by former employees of Malibu Interactive. Wait, why did you go?
I don't know. What are you doing?
I clicked on Malibu Studios and took me to Padded Cell Studio. Oh my God. Padded Cell Studios, formerly known as Acme Interactive and Malibu Interactive, was an American-British video game developer.
Okay. Did they do anything cool? Does it list things they've done? Besides this two versions of this game?
It does list things that they have done.
And none of them are recognizable?
Bangers such as Batman Returns, got it, 1992, Cal Ripken Jr. Baseball, David Robinson's Supreme Court, Cliffhanger, Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. Those are the ones that make me giggle, especially David Robinson's Supreme Court, which I just need to dive to. It's a basketball game.
Oh, damn.
Damn it. I don't like that as much.
Anyway, there's two more versions of this game. Let me tell you about them. There's the Sega Genesis version in August 1995, also a side-scroller developed by Clockwork Tortoise. Batman and Robin must stop Mr. Freeze, who plans on freezing all of Gotham, and Freeze releases other villains to keep Batman and Robin busy, which is completely different from any of the other ones that we're doing. It can be played by two players simultaneously. One is Batman, one is Robin, and some levels are a side-scrolling shooter where you play as the Bat-Wing. And then we have the final Sega Game Gear version for June 1995, which looks the shittiest because I think that's the like Game Boy of Sega stuff, if I remember right.
I think so. Yeah.
It was like,
it was like wider. It looked kind of like a Sega controller, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Also a side scroller developed by Novotrade, known today as Appaloosa Interactive. They made two Contra games, a Magic School Bus game, a South Park game, and a few others. You play as Batman fighting goons and villains across various levels with infinite batarangs.
Just like Batman.
If you get close enough to people, then you hit the same button that you punch them. But otherwise, you're just throwing batarangs that never end.
Sweet, dude.
So yeah, this Sega CD version that we were watching the cutscenes from, the story is by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, written by Paul Dini and directed by Bruce Timm. Music is by Burke Treichman, who we will talk about in Tribs a little bit. It's his only credit in this stuff. And animation by Tokyo Movie Shinsha, who were responsible for Fear of Victory, Two-Face Part 1, Feet of Clay Part 2, The Demon's Quest Parts 1 through 2, Read My Lips, and they did layouts for Harley and Ivy. So yeah, a banger lineup and Burke Treichman. And then all the other stuff I just told you about. So we got a lot of trivs that I managed to scrounge up that we'll get to that'll make this a lot of fun. I'm really excited for you to watch this because it's the first the first time that we're like, oh, and this little extra like thing from the side, or we're like, it's sort of almost a different show kind of vibe to it, and then we'll be 5 more Batman episodes, and then we're not in Batman anymore.
I think the hardcorest of our dear listeners will probably know about this, but maybe we should take a second for accessibility's sake and just say, like, hey, if you
where to watch this or whatever,
if you want to see this thing, like, check it out. I thought about
how
YouTube.
I should have said that yesterday. Or not yesterday, last podcast, which was yesterday. It's on YouTube. It's been on YouTube for years. If you just search Batman the Animated Series Lost Episode, but we'll be watching the upload by The World's Finest, which is a DCAU fan site that's been up since 1998. And they uploaded a version that's the direct. So there's 2 versions that have been on YouTube for a while. One is the exact extract from the game, with the game graphics and everything, and then there's another one that's AI cleaned up and upscaled and all this stuff to make it as presentable and easier to look at as possible, to make it, because this has never been released outside of the game, outside of the Sega game. You can't find it on, it's not on the Blu-rays, it's not on the DVDs, it's on never a special feature or anything like that. I prefer personally to watch it in the original stuff, which is funny. It's a really good cleanup, and I'm if you're listening to this and you made that, because it's gotten re-uploaded so many times that I have no idea who did it. If you made that and you're listening, really good job. Congratulations, thank you for spending so much time on that. I'll use that version in if I use clips from this in videos, but for the sake of watching this as a 90s kid or whatever, I think it makes more sense to watch the actual Sega stuff, and it'll also be kind of more entertaining for you. And I say that as a sort of hypocrisy to how I've been showing you the Blu-rays of all the other episodes, while I was like, oh yeah, you definitely grew up watching it on a tape or whatever. But
also this is kind of a standout, as you were saying earlier.
Yeah. Okay, you want to watch it? I'll send you the YouTube link.
Jamie, let's just watch it.
Fucking do it.
Let's do. That's what the kids are saying, right? Let's do. That's what all the all the Sega Gen Zs are saying. Mega CD.
Mega.
Let's do.
Let's. That's a subtitle.
How many O's?
At least 4, I think.
Oh, well played, Dark Knight. But before you rescue your Commissioner Gordon, here's a riddle. How am I like Batman? We're both dummies. As you can see, I've added something new. Virtual reality games are the wave of the future, Batman, and they're about to make you history.
Let's do.
Let's get
ready to do. Oh no. That's what I meant.
Same song. What's our song?
I was singing the guitar from the game.
Oh, nice. J.D. Riley's guitar?
J.D. Riley himself from
what a legend.
God's whatever.
My God has fleas.
Yes, there it is. We looked up the guitarist, and he did a bunch of stuff no one's ever heard of. So, I'm sorry if you're listening to this, J.D. Riley. Good job, though.
Good job, man.
Yeah, you do guitars there. Well,
Jamie.
Yeah, what?
What time is it?
Time. Time. Time.
Go listen to the
Synopsis.
the short summary, which is sometimes kind of long.
Time. It's time for you to tell me what happened in The Adventures of Batman and Robin for Sega CD, otherwise known as Mega CD Cutscenes, The Lost Episode, Mystery 86.
Well,
But tell me what you know for sure happened, but not the parts of the actual gameplay that we didn't get to watch. Or your brain just skips ahead. Yeah.
this is going to be really hard.
Uh-huh.
Everybody got out of Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. And then Batman had to fight them in order.
Yes, he did. In sequence, yeah.
Clayface came back together, but don't you worry, he met the same fucking death.
He manages to die exactly the same way.
I'm so upset about that. They weren't going to let me have it. No. Nobody dies. Batman never kills anybody. Clayface, he kills him twice.
He shoots a fucking cannon through his chest or whatever.
He sure does. Batman's like, I hate guns. Ooh, cannon.
I also hate Clayface more.
Things Batman hates. Top of the list.
Clayface.
Number
Then
2, guns.
Joker's like number 30 or something.
Number 3, not shooting guns at Clayface.
I just hate not shooting Clayface. I hate not killing Clayface. Can you tell me more of what happens in this game? There wasn't anything super interesting per sequence. It just kinda happened.
Who's the first one?
Poison Ivy.
It is Poison Ivy. Okay. Yeah. Batman's like, hey, you two, where's your hot boss at?
Yeah.
And Poison Ivy's like, I'm here, and I got Clayface, but he's a root. And then Batman.
I'll just say now, I was trying so hard not to laugh at how many times throughout the whole thing you were like, Clayface, it's Clayface? And they're just like, oh, it's not Clayface. And I'm just sitting there like, but he's coming.
Okay, so it's Batman versus Poison Ivy and then Batman is like getting
Damn it. I know what you're doing.
Batman he gets an axe and he's hacking up a root and he gets root juice all over his face.
He pleases Root Face quite well.
Oh God, that just looks so. Wow. Okay, so Batman kills a big root.
Yes,
and then he's got to chase after. Hold on, is Riddler next?
Yeah, Poison Ivy's like. Something about the game, and he's like, games. Riddler does games. I should go find the Riddler.
Yeah, what happens with Poison Ivy? She gets arrested.
Yeah,
that's
Bullock
right.
shows up and takes her pants
happens
off.
And takes her. She's just fully here's my butt.
She's pantsless for one shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really.
Don't worry, Bats. I'll take care of it if you like. Come with me.
Don't worry, Bats. I'll take care of it. Give me your fucking pants. Anyway,
Bullock
so then it's
turned back into a worse character. Actually.
Yeah.
We don't like Bullock anymore.
Batman goes and finds a Riddler who's also out of Arkham, and he's like, "Hey, stop with this shit!" And then Riddler's like, "I'm gonna kick." Wait a minute, who's he kicking in the face?
This is shorter than a normal episode, and you just watched it. Like you didn't even have to walk back to the thing, but it was so disjointed that you're like, "Who did Riddler kick?" I already forgot.
Didn't he?
Riddler was a robot, and then he jumped down off the computer.
No. But wasn't somebody? Oh, it was Gordon.
Sure. Yeah.
Riddler bot kicks Gordon in the face.
Okay. I don't think that happened, but okay.
Do you want me to timestamp this for you?
I don't think the Riddler bot did anything, did he? Didn't he
Well,
just stand there going, riddles, and then Batman
No,
went, "Urgh, I'm so mad," and punched him, and he went, ow!
He kicks Gordon in the face at there's poison ivy. Hold up. Is it right there? Is it right there? Batman is upset. Gordon is on the floor, tied up. He gets kicked at 5 minutes and 9 seconds.
Oh.
Suck it.
Yeah, he sure does do that. I knew that too. we did gloss over though Batman just driving the Batmobile into a toy store.
Oh, sorry, let me go back. Batman is on such a tirade to catch Riddler that he drives full bat speed through a toy store, supposedly unrelated to Riddler. I think Riddler might just happen to be there.
He's just there,
Maybe
yeah.
it's his.
I don't
But
know.
either way, it's a toy store in Gotham, and there's kids that love that shop, and Batman's
Yeah.
like swerving
Fuck
to hit-
children. I hate children. They're
He's like
fourth on my
swerving.
list.
So he's like swerving to hit every like display
It's
of toys and just
Clayface
destroy
guns,
it.
not killing Clayface,
Clayface
children,
and
and then
then children.
Joker.
Okay, so yeah,
We're
Batman's
making our
just-
top 10 Batman hates list.
So Batman's destroying toys. Riddler bot kicks Gordon in the face. Batman punches Riddler bot, says "ouch, my face," and then Riddler bot says "we're both dummies," and then there's a kind of fight thing.
He puts a helmet on Batman. The VR thing.
Okay, so this is gonna go so big.
You were while it was happening, you were just like, Batman's having a day or something. It's just, things
Literally.
just keep. Oh, and now you have to go fight Catwoman. Now you have to go fight Penguin. Now it's everybody except those
so
two.
Batman's in
Killer Croc,
VR
Two-Face.
and he's like falling down a big fucking hole, and then he like somehow destroys the machine by pulling it off, and Riddler's like,
You
real
destroy the
Riddler's like,
machine. You, the player of the game.
yeah, he's like, no, you did a fucking thing, and then what happens to Riddler? I don't know if I remember.
Batman like kicks him into the computer and it electrifies
Oh, you're right.
him.
He gets like electrocuted to fucking death.
Yeah, I
He
guess.
gets so graphically like
So this
comic
is-
book electrocuted.
I'm gonna keep like going off of your description of the plot, but it just reminds me that like this game feels like it has to be like, ooh, it's this extra cool episode that not many people know about, but we have to make sure that we revert every character to their status quo or whatever, because Riddler's like, I'm in a game, but my brain's broke, and then in this, they're like, I'm in a game, but my brain's broke, and Clayface falls in the water, but he's back, so he falls in the water. Like, they just have to do whatever the last thing you saw them doing.
Yeah.
I guess Riddler past that was already out of the coma or whatever, but still.
Who knows? Okay, so Riddler's electrocuted, definitely to death.
Yeah.
And then Batman unties Gordon, and Gordon's like, hey, your little bird friend is probably like getting clucked. And
He's probably in a chicken suit somewhere, he said.
he's probably in a chicken suit somewhere. Go to one of Gotham's many amusement parks. So
Yeah.
Batman like races off to one of the many amusement parks, and Harley Quinn's like, hey, popcorn, guess what? It explodes. Chase me, Batso. And then they get in a car chase. And then Harley's like, oh no, I've lost control of the car. I'm gonna
For
crash
no
into this
reason.
building.
Yeah. She
That's the last we see of her.
It just
There's
cuts,
no
yeah.
arresting.
Oh my god! I just realized. So she swerves her car for no reason. We don't see what happens. I'm pretty sure the car drives like whoa and smashes through the wall of the like fun house that Joker's standing on. And then when
Yeah.
we come back from the gameplay,
It
that
explodes.
car drives in there and explodes it. Like what the fuck? I don't think
R.I.P. Harley,
Yeah,
you're
I guess
dead.
she's dead now. Got to return her to last time we saw.
Okay, so Batman's all like, okay, Harley's about to be dead. I know this. I'm omniscient, so let's just say bye-bye. Oh, look, it's Joker, and Joker is...
He's got little cars.
he's going to make me race some cars. And then Batman supposedly races some cars, and the cars, little RC cars, go and like blow up Harley Quinn.
They got
to
little
death.
elephants and stuff in them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
So it's great. And
It's so good.
and then Harley Quinn dies. Joker kind of explodes and falls onto something like maybe stuffed animals or something.
Yeah, something. It's
like,
a little cart of prizes or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Presumably he's arrested. And
Well,
then
he gets
Batman's-
up with the hammer. He takes the hammer.
Oh,
to
that's
Batman.
right. That's right. I've skipped a bit. Okay, so this is too much detail
I
for
know, it was
as
packed,
disjointed
yeah.
as this is. Okay, so Joker grabs a hammer from the "Hey, how strong are you?" machine, and that's its official name.
I was gonna say,
And-
you circus folk, you don't know what this is called. I don't know. Test
No,
your
that's
strength
Carney
machine.
stuff. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Carney stuff.
We don't meld. We don't talk to each other.
So
Robin says, "Look
Joker-
out," and he doesn't.
and Batman turns around just to watch Joker hit him in the spine with a 15-pound mallet, and Batman goes, "Hey, ouch, that hurt. You could have broken my spine, but I'm not having a 34-year-old Batman day today."
He's taken quite a beating throughout each sequence. Yeah.
He's getting his ass kicked. And then Batman hits him, and Joker gets the "Oh, I fell on the how strong are you machine," and it turns out
Ding.
Batman's a hunk.
Sometimes kind of long it goes, and then goes ding at the end.
Yeah. And then Batman and Robin are like, "Oh, hey, Joker just said a thorn reference. He made a rose joke. So we got to go find Rupert Murdoch."
Therefore, clearly, I said he's been a Murdoch on your side for some time.
Precisely. So then, God, this is exhausting. So then
There's a lot that happens.
they're going to Rupert Murdoch's gambling ship, which is a full military has a full
Tanker,
military
yeah.
arsenal on board, and Batman is all like, "What, heat-seeking missiles? You heat-seek my ass!" And then they blow up on each other, and then
Oh
Batman.
man, it's gonna be hard not to have "Heat Seek My Ass" be the. I think I like the Mega CD Let's Do better.
Yeah, I like that one better. But thank you for your support. So then Batman and Robin hang glide through the windows, and they're all like, "Hey, buddy, you suck." And he's like, "Well, guess what? I'm not buddy. I'm Clayface."
I'm
And
not
then
your
there's
buddy
Clayface.
guy. I'm Clayface.
Which is kind of ironic because I was just like, I was at the start of this kind
Yeah.
of like when they talked about going to see Rupert Thor, and I was like, but he's not like that caliber of villain.
Yeah, he's
right?
not like a colorful
then-
supervillain, and then it's Clayface.
And then nope,
yeah.
it wasn't. It's Clayface, and I was like, yeah, it's Clayface. And then they fight, and Clayface is like, "I'm gonna shoot a gun at you and almost kill you." And Batman's like, "I'm just gonna sit on this chair gun and then fire this cannon at you." Batman's like, "I'm gonna kill you, Clayface," and he's like, "I'm gonna wheel myself to this helicopter." And he gets in a helicopter, and then he crashes into the Gotham Gate Bridge.
Batman shoots a big hole in him, and he goes, "Oh yeah, well I'm a donut now." Your plan backfired, actually.
And he rolls away. Yeah, so then Clayface goes ahead and crashes into the Gotham Gate Bridge. His helicopter explodes into pieces, and he goes face first in the water. We get to watch him disintegrate in the water yet again.
Yep.
Why couldn't you just let me have
can't
the
keep
possibility
Clayface.
of Clayface being alive? Nope, he's dead. Again,
I'm just
billions of pieces.
I'm just laughing at what the future holds as well.
Oh no.
But
If this
anyway.
happens a third time, I quit this podcast.
I mean, not technically, but anyway. You want to hear the fish?
And then there's a
Oh, no.
Batmobile and some bad
Yeah,
guitar.
there's text
and then the
for
credits
Yeah, the music just stops suddenly, and then you see the Mega logo again.
Yeah.
Let me read you the official synopsis first. It's very short.
There's an official synopsis?
I think this is just the back of the box thing.
Oh, okay.
Robin and Commissioner Gordon have mysteriously disappeared, and Batman suspects kidnapping. Have our
Thank you,
two
Homer.
comrades succumbed to the deadly beauty of poison ivy? Does the Riddler know the answer, or will the Joker have the last laugh? Tune in on Sega CD to find out, or Mega CD.
Last laugh.
That was an episode. That's a Captain Clown. That's
Joker's Taco Barge?
Ted's 9th favorite episode or whatever. And then Tiger. Yeah. So throughout the whole thing, I was just noticing, like, I mean, we talked about like how much Batman gets his ass handed to him in this, like every sequence, like not in the way that he doesn't like succeed in defeating the villain, but he just gets a wallop, you know, like
yeah. There's one bit on when he's fighting Clayface, he gets like thrown backwards into what appears to be a concrete wall. And there's a Batman-shaped impression left in the wall.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like shakes it off.
Yeah, and like so when he's fighting the root face, he's got like he's slapping him around, he's spiking him with his spikes, he's doing all sorts of shit. When he's fighting Riddler, he hurts his hand real bad, and then Riddler jumps down off the computer, and you would think that like Ninja Batman would be able to see that coming for the 5 seconds he's dropping and do something,
but he
move
drops
or
and he
grab
hits him right in the face.
Oh, like that was Riddler's plan. Was like, Batman, martial arts master. I think I'll distract him with a like realistic robot of myself, and then I'll just jump on him. I think that'll do it.
I'm gonna Goomba stomp Batman.
Yeah. Then in the Joker sequence, he gets hit by the hammer real hard, and then the Clayface shit. He's just got so many bruises after this, and then so between that and
this is one day.
Yeah. Between that and Clayface's helicopter, like the way it explodes into the bridge and like breaks off part of the bridge, and like it rumbles and stuff when it happens. And there's a handful of other moments in this. Oh, Batman like actually landing punches in Joker's face and gut and stuff like that.
Yeah,
there were a handful of times where I was just thinking, maybe they had less
restrictions.
Like scrutiny of that kind of thing, so that they could just do not necessarily whatever, but have more freedom with that or something. Because there's a lot, and I wouldn't have noticed that had we not been watching the show in order like this, like coming up to this and then going like, whoa, this is if I just watched this separated from everything else, it's like, this is what's happening. But seeing it against all the other, like, if they're gonna like punch a guy, better cut away from it or something like that, you know. It
Flash
just feels
to white.
less tame or whatever. It's just it's kind of the same as the opening Phantasm with all the long table meeting with all the guys, and he's just kicking their asses, and we're all just going like, Jesus Christ, Batman! Like, same kind of stuff in this. Yeah. What did you think of the presentation of this overall? Like the animation, the quality, the linear bullshit going on with the gameplay missing and stuff like that.
Okay, so while it was like super duper compressed and the sound effects were
horrible,
horrific.
Yeah, Batman running across the carnival ground, and all you hear is, and you were like, they had one footstep sound effect.
that was like two different effects.
Oh, sorry, you're right. I had two different notes. Yeah. Thank you.
And what was the sound that the batter or not the grappling gun?
Oh,
whatever?
yeah, when it hits the guy in the face and knocks him out, and it's just like some weird fucking guttural sound.
It was somebody dropping their like Jello pudding cup on the asphalt sound.
Yeah, it barely did anything. Yeah. That was another like, Jesus, man, you're just gonna shoot a guy in the face. He's like, oh well, the grapnel gun couldn't go through glass in the Two-Face episode, so I might as well just use it on someone's skull. I think it'll be fine.
It can't go through glass, but it will go through this guy's skull.
He hates people's faces. It's fifth on the sixth on the list.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually liked, because it was just like, it looked like just the normal art, which was like hyper compressed.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. It was very reminiscent of like just 90s games and something I'm really used to. So it's kind of nostalgic for me.
And it was really well animated. Like they chose a good animation studio, like probably the best one, I would say. To do these.
Yeah, I'd love to see somebody like fill in the X's. Like if you had the time to frame by frame.
Well, that's kind of what
this.
the AI thing I was talking to you about, the upscale thing that whoever did the cleanup version.
Oh, that's not what we watched.
No.
Oh, wait, I want to see what that looks like.
We watched like the original, actually what's in the game. If you just search Batman the Animated Series last episode, the top results that you can see is noticeably cleaner looking.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy and stuff.
Yep.
It's not like perfect or amazing, but it's easier to digest, I guess, than
but I did kind of like what we saw.
Yeah, well, and also it's not the computer, the AI or whatever deciding what's a line and what's not a line and that kind of thing is only going to be so descriptive of what it actually looked like. In the original version, I feel like your brain's more likely to fill in like, oh, of course I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, but you got some weird things of like people's hair changing color.
Yeah, there were some color changes. There was the poison ivy ass shot. There was also when Batman goes up to the Riddler robot and he's fucking with him, like the Riddler robot's doing a riddle. Batman's neck is just a human neck, like it's not the costume. There were a couple weird things, but I feel like that's just a mistake from the animation company, which is interesting because I'll talk about it. But yeah, it's just animated like a normal episode would have been, so there's not a Sega mistake list or something, you know.
I would like to, before we close out of like my thoughts on this, and I do want to get to yours. The thing for me, like, I would absolutely not call this a lost episode.
No.
Not at all. Like it's like, okay, what if Batman woke up one day and had to fight every single person in Arkham?
Yeah.
And he spent a lot of gas money, and that's just kind of it. You know, it's like it's just a battle. It's one battle after another, and like makes sense in a game. But I would hardly refer to this as a lost episode, even though it's got the same people.
You can't really watch it like an episode. You have to like do it like we just did, where I inform you of what the fuck this is, and then we watch it. Even if you, because if you don't know like what you're looking at, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Without knowing that the cutscenes, like when it fades to black, knowing that that's where gameplay happened, that's what connected the story, you'd be like, okay, why did we, how, what?
Yeah, because every part ends with like, and now time to chase down this guy, and then it just immediately goes, and we did that. Like we successfully did that, and now Clayface's helicopter's on fire and stuff. Like you don't get to see it happen. God. It's like the real lost episode or the missing pieces in the lost episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think I understand it being called that from the perspective of like, if you're trying to fit this in as like, oh, this actually happened, like continuity wise or whatever, like this was a thing that happened in the world of Batman the Animated Series, then I guess it's like, it's fun to call it that in the way of here are pieces of an episode you otherwise wouldn't have seen kind of a thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's very difficult to watch as its own thing. As long as you know, like we did, you know, oh, this clearly things are happening off screen that fill in the blanks or whatever. And if you, I guess if you did watch it with the full gameplay, but then it's switching to Sega Batmobile 3D background, you know, whatever. So I don't know.
So what are your thoughts? Like, how do you feel about this in the canon or
I mean,
in general?
We've surprisingly yet to do a video about, you know, whether it actually works and all that kind of stuff, especially with like the Clayface continuity and things like that. But
I'd say it doesn't.
We'll talk more about that, the Clayface stuff specifically later, but everything else, like nothing really stands out as like, well, that couldn't possibly happen or whatever. Like it's just kind of some random stuff that.
What about Harley Quinn dying?
Oh, of course, you're right. Well, as far as you know, she never comes back. So, the movie Batman and Harley Quinn is actually him just mourning Harley Quinn from the Sega CD game.
He's just sitting in a recliner eating popcorn and sobbing.
You're going, Robin, remember when Harley Quinn had exploded? No, I don't actually. Oh, that's right. I dreamed all of that. Yeah. That's all this is.
Robin, I kissed her once. It was the greatest day of my life.
You were there, I think. Yeah, I don't know. You had pointed out during the Poison Ivy sequence, she says like, something will get you nowhere except to an early grave. And you're like, wasn't that from an episode? And then when you said that, it clicked in my head that like, I think it was in like Eternal Youth or something like that. And then someone else also said a very similar line, I feel like directly out of an episode. So it makes me wonder if they were like maybe rushed on this or something of like, oh, we need a Riddler sequence. And they're like, well, you just pull some line. Oh yeah, it was Riddler inside the game. He's like, virtual reality is the way of the future, but it's about to make you history. And I feel like that was in What is Reality. I might be wrong about both of those things. I might just be remembering them from this because I have watched this a bunch of times, probably more than some episodes.
Why?
Because it was such a cool, unique thing to me as like a teenager that like, whoa, this like missing thing, this lost episode.
So rare.
Yeah, no one's ever seen it before. Well, on that subject, though, I will mention, I'll jump ahead on Tribs. Mark Hamill had not seen this until 2018. Someone had posted it on Twitter, which, you know, the video's been on YouTube for fucking forever, but he hadn't come across it or whatever. And I'll read like his tweet. So he says, just like the Joker does, "Yowza, yowza, ladies and germs," which was a weird thing for Joker to say.
I thought so.
A lost Batman episode. I remember recording for this project, but I never owned a Sega game console, so this is the first time I've seen this footage. Joker comes in around 8 minutes, 15 seconds, and features the only time I refer to bats as guano. And then someone had pointed out that he calls him Guano Man in Mask of the Phantasm, and then he says, like, did I? Oh, I haven't seen that in a while or something. But, yeah, it was just kind of fun to see that, like, clearly he's not. Yeah, I mean, Mark Hamill's a big comic nerd and stuff, but I would understand him not having seen this before. And John Glover, who voices the Riddler, is like notoriously has barely ever watched any. Like he only really watched his Riddler episodes like a year or two ago. Like he just when we were trying to get him for an interview once, and he was like, "Okay, but I'll warn you, I don't remember like anything about being the Riddler." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, what are we talking about?" But yeah, so it's just kind of fun that he got to see it finally.
Yeah.
But speaking of the cast, it's all returning people. We had Kevin Conroy as Batman, Lauren Lester as Robin, Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon.
Get up on the Hydra's back.
Robert Costanzo as Detective Bullock, baby.
Get up on the Hydra's back! Get up on the Hydra's back!
Take off your pants, he said.
That dude is still on my dashboard, Jamie.
What? Who?
What's his name?
Oh,
that
Phil.
Character?
Yeah,
Phil.
I gave Brian a little Phil like Burger King toy or something from Hercules.
And now he's my co-pilot. Phil is my co-pilot.
I put a little gag in the Robin video that you can't watch for years. It's just me like, I'm explaining something and I chose to do it with this voice for some reason. And then it just ends with like, don't ask stupid questions. Get up on the Hydra's back. And it's just a like T pose of the Kingdom Hearts model of Phil. And then Bullock's face appears on him for the last like frame of the shot. Yeah.
Oh my God. Why can't I watch these videos?
I'm so sorry. Because you agreed to do this. Diane Pershing as Poison Ivy, John Glover as the Riddler, Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn, Mark Hamill as the Joker, John Vernon as Rupert Thorne, and Ron Perlman as Clayface.
Pretty star-studded air quotes episode.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to jump into Trivs here because there's some interesting stuff.
Okay.
Though it premiered aside from the game one single time, the lost episode has never received a proper HD or even SD release. I would love to see it. Mystery 86, this thing, was produced much like a normal btas episode from the writing process to voice recording, storyboarding, and so on. The budget was relatively the same as a normal episode, but much money was saved in post-production. TMS animated the cut scenes overseas, which was then finalized at Warner Brothers and delivered to Sega. However, there was no editing pass and no musical score attached. The animation was reduced heavily in quality to allow playback on the Sega CD console with a reduced color palette and reduced frame rate from 24 frames per second to 15 frames per second.
You know, I was wondering if it was down to 12, but it didn't seem quite 12 to me, so that makes sense that it's 15.
Yeah, and I you can really see it in like shots, like action shots, or the opening that we didn't talk about where Batman's just standing in the Batcave surveying his land. Like, yes, this is the Batcave, and his cape is blowing in the wind that shouldn't exist. Like, what's going on there? You can really tell there. Warner Brothers was not allowed to do music or sound effects for the project. That was handled on Sega's end. I don't really know why they weren't allowed to.
Oh my God. Well, Sega, you dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah. Composer Burke Treichman composed the soundtrack for 14 other video games from 1992 to 2002 and won Computer Gaming World Magazine's award for Best Musical Score in 1994 for The Horde, which I think is like a kind of Dungeons and Dragons-y game or something. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, he won not for this. Yeah, what did you think of the music in this? It was definitely not btas music. Yeah.
It was 16-bit at best.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of like drum beats and occasional guitar. Yeah.
Like MIDI guitar.
There's some semblance of an attempt to do like melodic things whenever Batman's like fighting people. But it's usually just a bunch of whatever that like orchestral hit sound is. They're like, you know what I'm talking about? I can't do it.
Yes, I do.
It's just a bunch of that, a bunch of drums, and then
wait, you can't do like 8 instruments hitting at once?
That's what it sounds like. Imagine 6 more of me, 7 more of me doing that.
I just want you on the last one of those to actually edit in the orchestral hit.
Here it comes. You heard it in your brain.
You're so good.
Thank you. I did that with my vocal cords.
I think I literally have an orchestral hit that I could pull up.
You should.
Yes.
You got it. Similarly to Mask of the Phantasm, several btas storyboard artists worked on the project divided by act. The Poison Ivy sequence was boarded by Ronnie Del Carmen, the Riddler sequence by Mike Goguin, the Batwing/Missile sequence by Dan Reba, and Clayface ending by Kevin Altieri. A sequence featuring Batman versus the Penguin was cut. In the 1998 book Batman Animated, Paul Dini stated this was due to the game being overly bloated with villains as it was, so Pengy got the axe.
You don't say.
Yeah. Storyboards from the missing sequence appear in the same book drawn by Butch Lukic, who we will hear much of eventually. So I'm going to describe the storyboards to you and the listener. Penguin stands on a walkway over a sawmill. Batman comes bursting in through the window and kicks Penguin off the walkway into a bin of sawdust below.
Penguin then grabs a submachine gun and shoots several rounds into Batman's chest. Batman starts bleeding out tenaciously, but packs bits of cotton into his bullet hole wounds to stop from bleeding to death. He then grabs a big shard of glass and starts hacking at Penguin, chopping off several appendages. Blood spills on the floor.
Batman turns to see Summer Gleason is tied to a large log that is headed toward a circular saw.
Some lady?
As Dini says, a cherished chestnut of children's cartoons. Batman leaps down and saves her just in time, then places her on the ground and rushes over to fight Penguin, who gives a "but who's going to save you?" as he caws his chicken sound and an owl comes crashing through another window. The owl swoops down and knocks Batman
with
over.
With a 9mm pistol in its talons and starts shooting at Batman.
Bullet hole, yeah. And knocks Batman over with its talons, sending him flying into another log. Imagine an owl doing this to Batman.
The log has a sawed-off shotgun and starts unloading into Batman's torso.
Penguin grabs Summer and unveils his helicopter umbrella, saying, "Hope you don't get airsick." Then he flies off with Summer, leaving Batman to continue to wrestle with the owl on the floor of the mill. That's all we get to see, so presumably he's still there fighting the owl to this day.
Batman eventually wrestles the shotgun away from the owl, blowing its head off. He then sticks his finger in the neck wound and licks the blood and says, "Scrumptious." He then takes to the air to chase after some lady and Penguin. Sorry, I just feel like they were going really hard on this, so I just kind of wanted to like carry on.
At the start of this, I was like, is this a reference to another movie? And then I realized it was just an over like saturation of violence in this scene. Like an owl, like, imagine, "Oh, but who's going to save you?" And then an owl bursts through a window and knocks Batman several feet away onto a log.
I really would love to see just like Batman, as you can picture him, fighting just like an anatomical owl.
Yeah.
Not like a super owl.
No,
not
exactly.
An owl with
just
laser
an owl.
eyes. Just Batman like kind of like vaguely swatting about his head as an owl flies back and forth about
Ow!
him.
This kind of is annoying.
I bet his talons are sharp if he could get close enough to me, but I'm swatting tenaciously. This is going on for the rest of my life.
He's just punching it in the face over and over, and Penguin's like, "Oh, that didn't work. I should have got my big, like, whatever vulture thing he had in that one episode."
Yeah. Owl time. you know.
We saw Batman get in the Batmobile and he flips a couple switches and it goes batteries, power, turbines, speed before he takes off in the Batcave. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I also liked when he pressed the like, what was it, weather button or information button?
Oh yeah, location, and then it goes Gotham Bank, and like, oh yeah, and you
Location.
said east. So I guess I was unfamiliar with this. I'm a fake fan or whatever, but when in the '60s Adam West show, I guess most of the time they'd get in the Batmobile and Robin would go batteries to power, turbines to speed. So that's what that's a reference to.
Oh,
Which is cool, but also very silly. Poison Ivy's goons Lily and Violet from Eternal Youth briefly reappear when Batman's tying them up and you can't see what's going on and you're like, what the hell? And then he moves and there they are.
Oh.
Yeah. Batman's killing of the plant creature with an axe was directly based on Mickey Mouse killing the brooms in the Sorcerer's Apprentice sequence from Fantasia.
Oh, because like the silhouette shadows on the wall.
Yeah,
thing.
the silhouette shadows on the wall thing.
I
I was getting a little bit... That's what Batman was saying. I like the lack of sound effects in this. I have to assume also carries over to lack of like ADR and stuff. We do get a couple times of Batman going like, "Ugh," or whatever when he gets hit. But there
was some good Joker like reactions.
But when
to
he
that.
runs it at Root Face with the axe, his mouth is just open wide like he's screaming an attack scream. And nothing is happening. You don't hear anything at all. Just the music.
That checks out.
I was like, okay. I was getting a little bit light on trivs, so I asked Dan for extra trivs, and he told me something that I was completely unaware of. The plant monster that Ivy Six on Batman was based on the Green Thing, a creature created by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee for Marvel Comics in Tales of Suspense number 19, April 1961.
Oh
so
my God.
I looked this up. It doesn't look a ton like that guy, but I guess it's supposed to be a reference to him or something. This is the quick description of that comic issue. A botanist has a theory that even plants have intelligence, and so he develops a serum to increase it. He travels to an island looking for a rare, highly developed plant, but can't find one, and so he injects the serum into a simple weed. Not only does the serum... What?
Can you just start saying Serum Lake?
Serum Lake. Into a simple serum weed. Not only does the serum work, giving the plant reasoning capability, but it increases its height and strength as well. The weed harbors plans of conquest, and so to prevent the plant from reaching the mainland, the botanist destroys the motor from his boat. The weed declares that his life is forfeit, and so he runs off to hide in a cave where he finds a member of the plant he was originally seeking. He injects the serum into it, and the weed offers to ally with it in the conquest of mankind, but the highly developed plant refuses and destroys the weed. He admonishes the botanist to give up his experiments and fashions 2 oars for his boat so that he can return to the mainland alone. So a very, very
Amazing.
strange and silly issue, but a cool thing about it was one of the first comics to be published under the name Marvel Comics after they changed it from Atlas Comics. So it's got a lot going for it, which is nice, you know?
Sweet.
And off of that is, though not exactly the same design, the Joker's remote control exploding cars are very similar in concept to the one seen in Beware of /the/Grey/Ghost, whatever you call it. One of Thorne's men bears a striking resemblance to Rhino from Ventriloquist's gang. That was the big dude. He's like shooting on a stand machine gun, like a rail gun or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's just Rhino. Clayface's back from the dead return after the episode Mudslide is not explained. and then I got a couple reviews of this game. Electronic Gaming Monthly commented that while the FMV cutscenes, I don't know what that stands for, full moving videos, I don't fuck me, in the Sega CD version are entertaining, the gameplay is repetitive and frustrating due to trees and other objects blocking the player's view of the road. They summarize the game as a CD full of cartoon episodes with a so-so driving game included to break up the animated sequences. Tommy Glide of GamePro particularly criticized the lack of variety in the gameplay, commenting that this barely average driving game should be called The Adventures of the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And a reviewer for Next Generation magazine likewise regarded the rudimentary and repetitive gameplay to be the game's main flaw, calling it a journey into sheer tedium, boring yet frustrating at the same time. He scored it 2 out of 5 stars. So this is all like gameplay, problems. Nobody's saying much about the actual like lost episode portions, but I can understand.
If you have this game, it sounds like you've got a really good chance of having the world record speed run of it.
That's very true. Yeah, if nobody played this. Well, so the Sega Genesis. So for a long time, I didn't realize that there were 4 different versions of this game. And there in Big Bus, there was a barcade that had where it's just a bunch of consoles on tables, and you just go up to that console, you like rent it essentially that spot. And
R.I.P. Game Pub.
Is it gone now? Mm-hmm. It used to be called like Shoryuken League or something.
It was the
like
Shoryuken League, and then it was Game Pub, and now it's John Henry's like the third or something. Just come back again.
What is that?
Just a bar.
Oh, okay. So it's the gaming part is gone.
Yep.
That sucks. But
so now we don't have one of those.
I have many fond memories of just going there, playing games, getting way too drunk on their like Pokemon themed drinks, and then walking like half a block down to Pita Pit and eating like 3 pitas because they're fucking delicious.
Pita Pit?
Yeah, Pita Pit. It's great.
Is that a thing still?
I don't know. It was a decade ago. I'm so old now. But I since I didn't know there were 4 versions of this game, I would go in there, and they had a Sega Genesis, and they had in their list of playable like games that they had behind the counter or whatever that you could play on it was The Adventures of Batman and Robin. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to play this game. It's going to have all the cutscenes from the thing or whatever. And every time that I wanted to go play it, they had either lost that game or the Sega Genesis wasn't working or something else where I could just never play it. But I guess it was like fate being like, James, this is not what you thought it was anyway. Like you don't need to play it. So, yeah.
Damn, man.
What else do you have to say about this game?
Do we want to say if it's books or hip hop?
Yeah. We'll go out of order. Is this books or hip hop? This is pretty fucking hip hop.
It's very hip hop.
It never stopped. Yeah.
It is 90s straight out of Compton hip hop.
It's a guy breakdancing on cardboard, but he can't stop.
Yeah.
Help.
Oh my God. Okay, listener, if you are, I'm going off the rails, Jamie. Is that cool?
Yeah, do it.
If you're in Seattle, go to the Mopop.
Yeah.
Which is like a
explain
pop culture-ish
museum of pop. Yeah.
Oh, that's probably exactly what it stands for. I never bothered to learn.
I think Museum of Pop Culture. Yes.
Nice. So the Mopop, I was up in Seattle and I went to that museum, and there is just such a good hip hop.
You sent me a picture of the MF Doom.
And they have the MF Doom mask there, which made me want to cry a bit. And also, I was amazed that it seems to just be leather on the inside.
Yeah.
But man,
They didn't have and right next to it, just the Good Omens book.
No.
In a glass case.
No, but if I go back, I know what I'm doing. Oh my God. Okay, wait. Listener, if you're in Seattle and you have like the $30 whatever to spend on a ticket, please, or I think it'd be cheaper if you don't do the Leica exhibit. Although the Leica exhibit,
a copy of Good Omens costs you.
Yeah, like go to a thrift shop. They're gonna have a copy of Good Omens. Please take a picture of you holding the Good Omens book next to that MF Doom mask, please. Somebody please do that.
And then ask the person next to you that you don't know, hey, would you say this is books or hip hop? You know what I mean? And they'll be like, don't talk to me.
I will give you $100 if you get a video of you doing that.
Asking a stranger if it's books or hip hop. Yeah.
Yes.
They'll know what it means. They listen to everyone listens to this. What would we call keen effects in this? I guess Batman's shadow destroying
the compression.
Oh yeah, the X pixels. Do you know what that is? Like, why are there a bunch of X's?
Never seen that before in my life.
It makes sense to me in the way that like when something's aliased in like Photoshop. If it's like if you compressed it down to like a GIF or something, and every pixel is like a combination of the previous versions, like 40 different colors in one or whatever. Like I assume that's what it's doing, is creating darker and lighter colors. Like a better example would be like in print when you get the little dots everywhere. That's what I was trying to think of.
What I was waiting to say is, to me, it looked like halftone print.
Yes.
With like the dots connected and the round edges squared off.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. It is literally just X's. I'm
Yeah.
not sure why they did that. I'm sure it has something to do with compression.
It's like if you squinted and watched this, you couldn't see them. Like it would blend together correctly or something. But
yeah. I mean, it was cool. But yeah, for like real keen effects, I don't know. I feel like the compression was too strong
hard to tell,
really get. Maybe the mysterious white substance that was blasted on Batman's face as he was doing something questionable to root face off screen.
Yeah, we couldn't quite tell what he was doing. I did the explosion on the bridge, I guess, was cool, was keen. I liked it. I don't know.
No.
Clayface bursting into 12 pieces.
No. Donut face.
Donut
cool.
face, yeah. And him coming out of the tube, the like pipe, and they're all, oh God! Like, they're jumping off board. Batman's usefulness in this episode, quote unquote.
Oh my God. I guess he did good.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
He saved Commissioner Gordon. He saved Robin. He and Robin stopped Clayface and killed him again. I just have to keep reminding you.
Okay. All right. So let's rate him. I'm going to rate him pretty high. You rate him however you want.
Okay.
I'm going to give him 9 disintegrating Clayface pieces out of 10.
I was trying to think of something earlier in the thing, but my brain was also stuck on that scene. I'm going to give him.
What about the bat capes blowing in the cave wind?
Well, I was going to say maybe chicken suit, but I like. I think I'll go with 8.5 shards of glass sticking out of not Rupert Thorne's hand out of 10.
I guess it explains why it wasn't bleeding, because it wasn't actually Rupert Thorne.
So I had like kind of clicked through this looking for other things I could talk about in Trivs maybe half an hour before we started recording. Mm-hmm. So I'd already witnessed, and I know it's Clayface when he punches the radar thing, and there's just shards of glass sticking out of his hand, no blood, and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It just looks really violent. And so we were in the middle of talking about something when that happened in the actual thing, and you went, "Oh my God," or whatever. And I'm like, "What? What happened?" Oh, the thing in the episode happened.
Yep, it sure did.
Okay, I think that's all we have to say about this. Probably, I'm sure there's more we could pick apart about it.
That's probably plenty.
Sound effects still terrible. Yeah, but we're gonna go to Yoppie Mail now. Yeah.
Interesting to hear if people have thoughts about this.
Yeah, and especially because I think half the people that were commenting last time thought we were watching the next actual episode, which I guess we're getting into that territory now of things like we'll start overlapping between shows and whatnot. So we should start, if you're thinking about sending in mail ahead of time, at least wait until you've gotten to the part of the podcast where I say next episode is this. You know?
Make sure you stay till the end at least to know your homework.
Which is going to be a problem for our good old Mr. Aquino doing his second one as soon as the podcast drops comment. His thoughts. He did that last time where he did that for the next actual episode, and then he went like, shit, I guess let me edit this later, Jamie. Don't read this kind of a thing. But yeah, when we come back from mail, I'll tell Brian the name of the next podcast episode's subject episode. I don't know how to say that better.
Not just me, also you too.
Also
listener.
you.
Yeah.
That yop.
Kimmy, sing us home.
Extra yop, put it on.
We drop
What we drop?
our weekly yaps
Oh yeah, those.
into the comment box. There sure was a lot.
Now Jamie's mad.
Too bad we're wrong.
I am.
Just Dylan Pollock.
Wee. If you want to reach out to us like the fire hand at the end of the Cat in the Claw Part 2, you can email batwagonpod@gmail.com. If you send in a voice message, please keep it under 60 seconds, one per person, just for the length of the show. You can and should also leave us a comment on today's episode on the Podtower YouTube channel. And please, if you send in mail or leave a comment, do not spoil anything past this episode for Brian. So we totally spaced on the fact that, or at least I did, we emailed that Arthur Reeves campaign email that Keen was doing, the riddle. Mm-hmm. And right after we had stopped recording that podcast episode, like 2 minutes later, I got an email. Thanks for your message. Wishing Arthur a speedy recovery. Thank you for contacting the Re-elect Reeves campaign for Gotham City Council, where we continue to fight for less costumes, less crime citywide. We are not currently responding to any questions regarding campaign finances while we focus on Arthur's full recovery. If you have another inquiry to solve, please consider the following. And then it's a QR code. So okay, and it says thank you for your support. So I'm gonna go to it and see. Yep. We'll see what happens. Oh, it's a Google Drive of a audio called Riddler's Reform, and let's play it.
Greetings, Yoppie dudes. This is it. The end of the game.
Oh, no.
If you're listening to this recording, it means you've successfully solved my riddles and clues. Congratulations. I'm optimistic you were clever enough to find this message in time for your recording of the mail for Riddler's Reform.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I thought it worth the fanfare to celebrate my favorite Riddler episode. I hope you enjoyed solving it as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Again, well done. You truly are worthy of the game. Now, to speak on behalf of the episode itself, I adore this episode. Truly, the Riddler is in his finest hour. I'd say more, but it appears my time is up in 5, 4, 3, 2... Oh, well, that was anticlimactic. In that case, keep it cute. The 1 minute mark eliminated.
And it's exactly 1 minute long. Yeah, we sure did get to that in time for the Riddler's Reform mail.
Sorry we suck so much, Keen. That was great. I think the thing is,
it's more ironic that we didn't get it in time.
It's very fitting that we didn't. Yeah, it's exactly. Just very much us, because it's kind of hard to. Okay, I'm gonna get a little deep here. We have these moments. Thank you.
I just wanted to ruin it for you.
We have these moments where it's like you and I, and then that's it. Like we watch things together, but that's it. Sometimes we're in the same room, sometimes we're not. End of story.
Sometimes kind of long.
Yeah. And we drop. We do this like, I mean, also for ourselves because we enjoy it, but we do this for the listener. Like, we get the mail and we read the mail here, but we don't get a lot of interaction.
We don't get a lot of time to think. It's just kind of happening.
Yeah. And it's strange to me, like when you get messages later about the show or like, like comments in person from friends. Yeah. Like when I was in Seattle, I met up with Vitz.
Yeah.
And, Vitz is talking about the, get to that 1 second. Vitz was talking about the podcast, and it's always like, it's so strange to me when you have an interaction about the thing, or like when I meet like Tip Tapricot or whatever, like to meet these people aside from it, because it's so like just me in my place, or me and you in my
and
place.
Now that you've also for like 20, 30 episodes not actually been listening to the podcast, it really is just a thing that happened to you in real life, and then you go away from it and someone else heard it aside from that. That's not one of us.
Yeah. And so it's like, I guess in like, not to say necessarily in defense of, but I think the reason that we failed Keen so hard in that was just because it's like, if we're not sitting down and solving it on the podcast, it is kind of like we're just, it's out there for people to like encounter on their own time. And that's so strange.
Well, and I mean, just people writing into the podcast and having their thing that you listener, you feel more like you're part of things when you write the stuff in, and then we just listen to them, and it just, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. It made sense in my brain a second ago, but it didn't come out of my mouth like at all. And I'm gonna let Brian be the one that handles the deep conversations from now on. This is from Fiacra Horgan. Thoughts on lockup and deep freeze. Hey, James and Brian, hope you're doing well. Time to sit down, relax, and throw on an episode of Batman the Animated Series. It's great to go back to a simpler time when things were normal and civil. Cut to Lockup's rants about the progressive liberal media. Oh, dear God! Has the world always been like this? Despite the ominously accurate prediction of where the world is at nowadays, this was a really good episode. It's just great to see a compassionate Batman. Now on to Deep Freeze. The one question that sticks out from this episode is, why did the prison guard have grenades? I know it's Gotham City, but geez, that seems a little excessive.
Oh, wow, that one went right over my head.
I don't remember them, yeah. Also, I'm preemptively going to guess that Brian does his Mr. Freeze impression at least 12 times this episode. Hopefully I'm not too far
maybe
off.
3?
Yeah. I think we collectively may have done it 12 or more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
As we're coming to the end of BTAS, I really am going to miss those amazing title cards as we go through the DCAU. They really stand out and always nicely set the tone for each episode. Yeah, they're only in BTAS.
No! What?
Spoilers, yeah.
What? That's so good, though.
Yeah, I've always wondered why they stopped doing them. Thanks as always, guys. See you next time. I think it's probably a budget thing. I don't know. But
that ruined my day.
Oh, man. Now you really don't want to end Batman. This is from Dylan Pollock. One of a kind and for your people's delight. And for you, Sega MC, you just ain't right. Assuming the subject line won't be understood, it's a Run DMC reference to suck at MCs. I mean, it was understood by one of us, yes.
It's time for the Thoughts of the Week from Dylan Pollock on The Adventures of Batman and Robin's Sega game. Or The Lost Episode. Or The Should Have Stayed Lost Episode. Got him! Man, does this look and sound gnarly just due to the constraints of being a Sega game, I suppose. It almost makes you miss ACOM. Another thing, as we all know, Batman famously doesn't kill, except for the sentient plant creature which Ivy leaves for him, which he determines does not deserve to live, and chops it like he's Jack fucking Torrance in the third act of The Shining. Another thing, I feel like I'm being hyper picky of these 17 minutes of cutscenes. How did the dummy version of Riddler know how to slap Commissioner Gordon? Because it's, then doesn't have any method of dodging Batman coming at it or swinging its arms or anything. It clearly was just supposed to be a dummy. Yeah. Also, I thought it would have been cool if the end credits showed all the villains you defeated in cells in Arkham, sort of like the end of the Maxi Zeus episode, you know what I mean? So, now that we're done with this disappointment of an episode, let's get to the question of the week. James,
that's my favorite part.
Why'd you guys make me watch this? Just kidding. The question of the week is, what's your most regrettable hair choice? I had a mullet as a kid, but I had no control over that as I was merely a boy. But I was old enough to want to dye the top of my hair blonde and cringe just thinking of it now from my frosted tips. What about you guys?
Frosted tips were quite the thing there for
God,
a bit,
Dylan, do it again. Bring back the frosted tips and the mullet. They're both in fashion.
When you do, if you do both of those, then everybody's going to be doing it because you are everybody. I'm right now. I'm doing a bunch of random
James
shit
is
to my
in
hair,
his experimental phase.
I am, but my most regrettable was sophomore year of high school. We were filming a movie, and I was like, "Oh, my logic is sound. Nobody get haircuts while we film the whole movie because then our hair will stay the same." And so
instead of everybody get this haircut every week,
constantly, yeah. I mean, we were all 16. We didn't have money. Where were we going to do that? And so, my hair grew to the longest it's ever been, which isn't super long by anyone's standards. Like Brian's hair was way longer before he decided to not do that anymore for some reason. I think right now Brian's in his regrettable hair stage. He misses his long hair probably. I'm just kidding.
God!
I like your hair. I just assume that you wish it was long again.
Get out of here.
You don't want it to be long anymore?
I've actually had a few requests to bring it back.
Yeah,
but
it'd take a while.
It would take a little while, but my thing was I had it up most of the time, and I was
right.
why do I?
Well, because we worked at Big Bus where you couldn't be non-conservative.
Yeah, that's true. That was already pushing it. A nose piercing and long hair up in a man bun.
You didn't have any. Yeah. You had one tattoo, didn't you?
Not then. No.
Okay.
No, they wouldn't have hired me.
Please take all your clothes off to prove you have no tattoos.
Yeah. But to answer Dylan's question, for too long in elementary school, I had a rat tail. I don't know why.
Probably from Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, it wasn't that big, and my hair is too curly to do my sister would braid it occasionally. And I think that was about as straight as it got because it was just kind of like a curly poof on the back of my head. But to me, it was like, oh, that's what that cool thing kids are doing in the 90s.
Like how I said, like Anakin Skywalker, when I was already out of elementary school by the time that movie happened, and you were like in college or something.
I was coming off, yeah. It was cool back in like the late 80s and early 90s. But this was later than that, and it was just the like, oh, my sister liked these things. I think I'm gonna do that thing. Like one of the bands that she liked had going on, and it was just that I had this anxiety about cutting it.
my ex-girlfriend's mom had like a shaved sides, like military short haircut, and then a rat tail. It was like, all right,
hell yeah.
This is from Jordan Newman, GCN Musical Minute, the Lost episode.
Sup, Jordan?
You're listening to GCN Gotham City News. I'm Summer Gleason.
And I'm Jack Ryder.
Tonight's top story: Batman stopped the Riddler and drove his car through a toy store in the process. Personally, I just don't think that level of destruction was necessary.
In other news, Batman stopped the Joker at yet another abandoned amusement park. Jesus, Gotham, we have a problem. Why do we keep setting up amusement parks and then closing them immediately? Now over to the music. I really liked that the music in this was the weird electronic video game sound instead of the full orchestra like usual. I also wonder if they didn't have legal access to the leitmotifs because they certainly didn't use any of them. I did like the little Batman theme they came up with for this. Never apologize for loving your fandom and try to stay optimistic.
That's a very good question, yeah.
I guess that goes hand in hand with them not being able to do the sound effects. Maybe it was like any sound design at all.
They couldn't, they weren't supposed to do the soundtrack at all. I don't know why. But I do like the little Batman, like, guitar Batman theme when he's surveying everything the light touches in his Batcave. And it's made me like, so there's the like Danny Elfman, opening theme. There's the Shirley Walker current opening theme / Mask of the Phantasm theme. And then one of the other movies that we'll watch has yet a fourth DCAU Batman theme that I think it would be fun to at some point like do some sort of medley of all of those, but I don't think anyone would recognize it. I'll do it. I don't think anyone would recognize the video game one. Like, what's this part? I don't understand.
They'd recognize it by the super crunchy compression.
It'll be, I'll push it down to this like radio sounding terrible thing for a second. This is from Scrudge. Scrudge's Yoppie food review. I've attached an image of the Yop with the podcast. Do with it as you will. It's a bottle of Yop that he is drinking while listening to the podcast.
Isn't that in Australia?
It was somewhere that we are not. Yeah, we were trying to get it. We were trying to see how we could ship it to us. I don't remember.
Is Scrudge?
Is it maybe Canadian?
Oh wait, no, maybe it is Canadian.
I don't know.
That's right, because my friend Don had a comment about that.
About Yop. There's also a MP3 called Yop attached.
Hey, what's up, James and Brian and the listener?
Not Australian.
So I wanted to do something special for my first audio message.
Yeah.
So I decided that since I'm from Canada, I'm gonna drink a Yop, the yogurt drink that they sell in Canada. I purchased a blueberry Yop, and I'm gonna drink it live on the podcast because that's the best way to review food is through an audio format. So that's the Yop.
Oh man, sounds great.
You can hear it shaking around
God.
there.
And, God.
I'm gonna open and drink it now.
I am here for this. This is... Are we going to win an Emmy for this?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I have to assume like a very liquidy blueberry yogurt would taste pretty good. So yeah.
Scrudge, thank you so much for that. Welcome to existing in the audio format.
Yeah, welcome to being in our ears. I do like Ted asking like, what is a Yop last time? And Scrudge is just, well, let me show you.
Yeah. I guess I should have made the extra couple-hour drive up to BC when I was in Seattle. Well, I could have got us some Yops.
We'll take a road trip and get some Yop. This is from Dino Face Individual, Batman's Lost Hench Reviews. Comment submitted by Bobby Tree Man. Oh no.
Oh God.
Hey folks, I'm Bobby Aloe Vera. You may not know me, and that's because I'd like to think I'm a much better person than I was before. You see, I was once a giant tree man created by Poison Ivy for the sole purpose of killing Batman. It didn't exactly go well.
That means you were once a sweet potato as well.
Yeah, you were a little tuber on the ground there. It didn't exactly go well, and I was left dying in a puddle of my piss blood. It was it was then that I realized that I needed to change my life going forward, that I was more than just a tree man created to kill a dude dressed up like a bat. It was then that Bobby Aloe Vera was born. I named myself that because I realized that my true purpose was to heal, not to hurt. So now I'm a motivational speaker. I travel to the gardens of the world to let the dandelions and creepers know that they too can be more if they put their roots into being the best little oxygen producers they can be. So I'll rate Poison Ivy a 2 out of 5. Seriously, Batman, you didn't have to go as full-on shining on me as you did. I appreciate the life I was given so that I may be able to live the life I lead, but I don't appreciate being made for violence. Very, very touching.
Here's Batman.
It really is, yeah. They held on that in true, well, it wasn't ACOM, but in ACOM fashion. They held on that shot of the axe for so long. Batman's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Oh, an axe on the wall. And then just cuts to the axe and holds for like 10 whole seconds. Like, I fucking get it. There's an axe there. Like, God damn it.
I wish they did it more like Rocko's Modern Lifestyle, and the camera would have like been like panning across the wall, across the axe, and then back too far, and then back to the axe. And
Do the Joker thing where he's reaching for either a hatchet or the like sausage, and then he grabs the sausage anyway.
Yeah.
This is from Scotty Cameron. Clayface returns only to die again. Hey, Yoppie Dude. Brian's face. Hey, Yoppie Dude's great show as always. I must say the game does use Clayface effectively by having him pose as Thorn. It's a neat idea. Him dying at the end felt unoriginal given Mudslide. I enjoyed having Ted.
It felt unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
I think that's what you meant to say.
Yeah, it felt like it shouldn't have happened. I enjoyed having Ted and hearing his commentary on Deep Freeze, particularly recalling the Fire and Ice tape. If I were frozen, then woke up in the future, I would want beaming to be a thing, also like teleportation, so I could beam myself anywhere I wanted. Say, beam me up, Scotty, to myself a lot. Stay Yoppie, Scotty. Good answer, good answer. This last email is from Louisiana Purchase. New podcast listener, surprise, OMG.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, Jamboree and his trustworthy friend Balthazar. Yeah, that one from the Bibble.
Yep, that's me.
I'm a new listener.
I bibble so hard.
I'm bibbling right now. You can't see. I'm a new listener from the Tick and Talks on the Wi-Fi's. I listened all the way from 1 to 74 in about 4 weeks.
Oh my God! What?
Back when that was the most.
Wait, whoa.
I think it's safe to say people enjoy this for some reason.
No, that's not the reason.
Possible.
It must be an uncanny addiction.
We're finding insane people is all it's happening. Back when that was the most current episode, and should have commented then because Baby Doll was my favorite episode of BTAS, but I didn't. I was listening to Animorph audiobooks too. Then you can imagine how that went. Great. It went great. I'm on book 11 right now. Animorphs has come up in my life like fucking 50 times lately, and I have no idea why. Like, I forgot about it almost completely, and then I can't even tell you what all the other instances are, but every time lately I'm just like, why Animorphs again?
Well, I know what to get you for your birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Make me an Animorph, whatever alien tech, or I don't even fucking remember. I was initially avoiding all Batman media after the passing of Kevin Conroy, given how much Batman was a part of my childhood, as I was born in 91, and hey, me too, baby, and it helped me connect to my older sibling. Listening to you two...
What's your birthday?
Yeah, tell us your birthday.
I'll wait here.
Listening to you two has helped me process my grief, and I've been able to enjoy all the DCAU again. My husband and I even recently rewatched all of Static Shock. No spoilers. It was really great to watch again. I was even able to replay some of the Arkham games. I haven't interacted much with my sibling or my immediate family since I've moved to a big city in a different state. Moderately sized Wienermobile? I forgot After you were there, obviously, but listener, after last episode, we stopped recording, and then Ted was like, just have me on for at least one episode a show. I can be the Unidecker guest or whatever. And I was like, damn it, I'm not recording anymore. Or since I've transitioned, my boys are back in town, so they say, I don't know. Watching the DCAU and experiencing it all over again through this podcast has made me happy and kept my mood up on those dark days when I need it most. Oh, that's nice. Also got to say, I love the talk about the nitty-gritty of the animation industry and random art talk as an art degree haver. I knew I had to email before y'all are out of Batman and into unknown territory. I never watched Superman, and I don't know why. I will do my best to focus long enough to watch it for you.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I've never watched it either.
Yeah.
Let's make this a duo
on the
thing.
journey together. So thanks, Jabberwocky and the Brain That Wouldn't Die, starring Herb Evers. You guys are the yoppiest around, and I'm so happy I found y'all. Postscript, Man-Bat is like my favorite Batman villain.
No! So remember that whole Superman thing? We'll do it together. I mean,
just
maybe
kidding.
Just on your own time.
I mean, you could just do this yourself now. I don't want to be a part of it.
No, I'll be there for you. Thank you for, binging. Dear Lord, binging this podcast. And thanks for writing in.
Yeah. Glad to have you here.
Louisiana Purchase. Love that.
Louisiana Purchase. Tell us your birthday and tell us your social security number. This is comments on episode 80, Deep Freeze or Perpetual Carrot, Feat Ted Kendrick. This is from Cooney Phoenix. Hi, hello. Oh, you mean Konami Phoenix. So, I gotta say, I feel kind of dumb for not knowing the last episode was a thing. So thank you for mentioning it.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning it, because I just watched the video. I'm glad to say I've seen it now. I don't know if it's just me, but damn, the animation, the fluid movements, pretty good in my opinion. Like just the motions and stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes, it does. Also, it was actually really nice and comforting to see all these characters interacting and stuff in their btas looks and all. Maybe because I've never seen it before, so it really felt like a new episode after all these years for me. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Sweet.
And Brian's seeing these as all new episodes every time.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Also, that one bit with Batman fighting the Riddler, and he turns around in the millisecond Batman spends staring, the Riddler puts the headset on him, and meanwhile he's laughing so hard. Yo, that was so simple. LMAO. No fist fight, no words even. He just plopped it on there. I guess it reminded me of when this one friend I have takes their baseball cap and slaps it onto my head when I'm not looking and then starts giggling.
It's exactly the same. Do you find yourself in a VR universe?
Yeah, every time that happens. Anyways, fun watch. Curious to hear what y'all have to say about it. Fun side note, by the time this podcast is up on Friday, I'll be sitting through my high school graduation ceremony.
Cody!
We're part of everyone's life events as part of this podcast.
I legitimately love hearing people's yo, this is this big thing that's going on in my life.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so cool. Congratulations. I look forward to being updated with what you're doing next.
Yeah.
My suggestion, join the circus and travel Europe because
and then
who needs college?
Do a Batman podcast eventually.
Do a Batman.
Yeah.
I bet you do a great
20 years
podcast,
later. They say, not gonna lie, I'm gonna be looking forward to finally getting home after it all and listening to this podcast like I usually do. Thanks for the inadvertent graduation gift. You're welcome. Chris Knife. Anyone else notice for the first time that Dick's hair is slicked back, but when he's Robin, it's all tousled up? As a costume designer and owner of 6 Dick Grayson action figures, I'm disappointed in myself for realizing so late in the game. Yeah.
All part of the costume, baby.
Ashley Tutchin, it's about time you let Ted talk on the podcast. Wait, Ted Talk? That would make a great name for Ted's podcast. It's probably not taken. This is the kind of episode they couldn't make anymore. I think they just talk about Deep Freeze. Now I had to think about it. What the fuck was last episode? Now that Fox Kids and Fox Adults are both owned by Disney, there's no way they'd be allowed to throw thinly veiled accusations at their frozen, allegedly corporate overlord. I'm looking forward to next week for, cutscenes? Really, Jimothy? Come on, nobody wants to watch The Terrible Trio. That's the name of the next episode. Thanks for spoiling that, Ashley Tutchin. But stalling won't achieve anything. Or are you just getting sentimental now that the end of BTAS is in sight, so you're trying to prolong it? Yeah, no. It's
Look, this was all planned.
It's how it is. It's been planned for so long. Jeremy Swires. Hi, Jamie and brother Bullet Brick Broderick.
Hello.
I had to pause immediately to avoid spoilers for this episode of the podcast as I only discovered it this week, and I'm currently on episode 32. Welcome to the fold. I work night shift and listening as I go makes the time fly. Absolutely love the podcast. And if you read this by the time I catch up, I'll have forgotten I ever commented. Not a Dylan Pollock sock puppet account, just a Yoppie dude, pee pee poo poo.
Oh my God.
welcome to whatever this is.
Hey. Good luck on the night shift. Dear Lord, I couldn't be a vampire.
Matthew Volmer. I can't believe you're almost a Superman. It feels like just yesterday Brian was ordering Yoppie meals. Instead of Happy Meal. Yeah, me too. Banana Boy says okay.
Okay.
Serum Lake. Serum.
Like from earlier.
From like earlier in the podcast. The Adventures of Batman and Robin Sega CD game is really important because it highlights the significance of each of the key components of BTAS: the writing, the art design, the animation, the voice acting, and the music. While the first four components are pretty much in line with the show for the most part, the MIDI music pales in comparison to the work of Shirley Walker and her band of composers. It's decent enough for a mid-90s video game, but not up to the high standards of BTAS. As a side note, I watched Ted play through this game, and God bless him, he has the patience of a saint. Yeah. Batgirl Fangirl, Ted's here. What a pleasant surprise. I'm so glad you're watching the Lost episode. I really love the animation in this one. I think this may be my favorite interpretation of the Joker with his bulging out eyes and the shadow effects. He looks really scary. The music, yeah, when he's climbing out of his thing he fell in, it was cool looking. It was keen. When he's climbing out of the thing he's fell in, it was cool looking. What do you want? What do you expect? The music made it quite sinister at times as well. It's hard to pick a favorite part. The Riddler section, although heavily based on what is reality, was very well done. I thought, was it me or was Batman aiming for the toys as he entered the toy store in his Batmobile?
Absolutely.
Whoa, I'm just knocking over Godzilla. Whoopsie.
Oh my God. You're just on a rampage.
Fuck these toys. Toys are seventh on his list.
I was glad to hear that Jack Ryder and some lady also noticed that.
Yeah. Not seen this in a while. I don't remember it being so violent as this. I would love for this to be a special feature on one of the Blu-rays with either audio commentary or maybe expand it into a full episode.
Yeah, maybe they show that whole bit with Penguin and Batman and the shotgun and the owl.
Yeah, Batman and an owl shooting shotguns across the room at each other.
6 hours of it. It's a weird episode.
It's just the slow-mo Matrix, like, scene where they're running up the walls and backflipping and stuff, but it's just Batman and an owl blasting the columns apart. The owl's doing the whole swaying backward thing.
Jamie, how are you going to edit this one into a TikTok?
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah,
I'll hastily paste an owl over.
I was gonna say, I'll just take clips from the Zack Snyder CGI movie, The Guardians of Ga'Hoole, or whatever it's called. It's a bunch of owls, CGI owls, and it's in like slow-mo with lightning and all this shit.
Oh, great. Yeah, do that. Put that with the TikTok and the Batman and the Matrix.
Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. Anyway, loved your recent Robin video. I won't spoil things for Brian, but it was fantastic. Yeah, he'll watch it a long time from now. Brilliant podcast, James, Brian, and Ted. 5 stars and 5 chicken costumes that Robin was inexplicably wearing. I must have missed something.
Yeah, us too. Don't worry about it.
Joker just put him in there, I guess. There's no way he'd have to knock Robin out and like struggle to get him inside of that in his costume already. I don't know.
Yeah, weird. He's got a weird fetish.
Wency209. Yes, a new Jump on the Bat-Wagon episode with a special guest, and that guest is none other than Ted.
Can you believe it?
I don't know which Ted. Maybe the teddy bear Ted from the Seth MacFarlane movie Ted, or maybe it's the Ted that the show Ted Talks was named after. The world may never know. Anyway, stay happy and always remember, Mr. Freeze! Ian Thompson. Look, I was a dinosaur kid growing up, a kid that loved animals of all stripes. I knew what a pangolin was at like age 2. So episodes about guys. Oh, this is a spoiler. Edit. Oops, foiled by cutscenes from a video game. He thought it was about next time. You've gotten some clues, I guess. Mark Aquino, first last. Jamie springing a whole nother thing on us, throwing monkey wrenches in our schedules. How dare the person who can do whatever he wants with this podcast do whatever he wants with this podcast? The absolute gall.
Look, he doesn't do it just with this podcast. That's basically how James lives his life.
This is what I am. I can't change now. I'm doing it for Brian, okay? Anywho, I've heard about the Lost episode before, but never played the Adventures of Batman and Robin game for Sega CD or Genesis, or the other two versions. The only Sega Genesis games I ever played were Sonic, you mean Monic, Paperboy, Maperboy, and Home Alone. Did it live up to its mystic reputation? Meh, it was okay. The story was as lightweight as it gets. Interestingly enough, this reminded me of the Adam West Batman movie where he and Robin faced off against many of the show's top villains. I did find it funny that Poison Ivy's plant monster just looks like Clayface if he was at a music festival and got really into it.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Speaking of, old Matt Hagen just continues to rack up L's, doesn't he? Though admittedly, the sight of him shooting a machine gun was surprisingly badass. If I'm grasping at straws here, it's only because I don't really have an interesting opinion on this one. It's just fine. The animation was really good, though. Seriously, I wish TMS had done more episodes. They do some really good work. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
As usual, boss, biggest bear hugs to the #1 podcast host in this here multiverse of ours, Jewel Pen and Birkenstock.
I am Birkenstock.
I don't want to be Jewel Pen.
Too bad, buddy.
Love the new Watchtower video. I can't say what it's about, though, because it would spoil a great many things for our beloved brother Bricky Poo, but all I'll say is that it's great. You should check it out if you haven't already. Listener, not Brian. Next week, I'll just reuse what I'd previously written for the next official episode, mainly because I don't want to come up with anything more to say about that stupid episode. Oh, well, till next week, Spoke-Bye.
There we go.
Okay, Brian, so now you know it has to do with animals, it's stupid, and it's called The Terrible Trio. What the fuck is this episode about?
3 stupid animals.
Okay, yes, go on.
Must I?
You got the exact number of animals correct.
Yeah, I know. I'm really good at this.
You're like so cocky. Yeah, I'm aware.
Animals. Is there a returning bad guy?
I don't think so. There might be a cameo or something, but I don't think so.
3 animals, huh? Mm-hmm. Did they break out of a zoo?
No.
Fuck. Are they just like wayward woodland creatures?
They're not real animals. Stop here.
Okay.
If you want to hear more discussion about this episode, actually, I don't know if either of these. I don't think Tim Talk covered the Lost episode. DCAU review might have at some point. I'm not sure. But both of them are on the Podtower, just like this podcast. Thank you to Kimmy, Cooney, Phoenix, Viltsu, and of course, Brother Broderick for all our musical themes. Please subscribe to the Watchtower Database YouTube channel for DC Animated Universe videos on a regular basis, and subscribe to the Podtower for all new DCAU podcasts every week.
And until next time, smoke bomb.
Nope. Leave us a like over there on today's episode to help spread us around the interwebs. And please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever the hell you're listening to this on. You may hear your review read on the show.
Do you remember when I used to listen to podcasts on Stitcher?
I know, man. That was so long ago. New episode. We've almost done this for 2 years.
That's no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. New episodes of the podcast early. So when people are like, oh, I just caught up, they just listen to like 2 years worth of stuff. New episodes of the podcast are released every Friday on the Podtower, as well as your favorite podcast feed and watchtowerdatabase.com. And we'll see you next week for The Terrible Trio, the best episode that everyone likes a lot.
Oh, I can't wait to make fun of it.
Including Bruce Timm really, really likes this episode.
Your facetiousness
is man.
Stunning.
Can you tell it'll be good?
Yes.
All right, cool. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, listener. Thank you, new listeners.
Thank you, new listeners.
Lot of those
There's a lot of new listeners. If you're new, thank you. If you've been here forever, get out of here. I hate you now. We need a new breed.
That's a Jamie thing. Don't listen to him.
Well, it's a good episode next time. Okay, bye.